Hi everyone, welcome back. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Jerry. I had been working construction for 8 years, climbing my way up from general laborer to site supervisor by age 29. My steady income and reliable nature made me an attractive partner, which is how I met Becca at a mutual friend's barbecue many years ago. Becca worked at a mid-size advertising firm downtown, earning a comfortable salary that funded her active social life and frequent trips. Our relationship progressed steadily over 2.5 years. I appreciated Becca's outgoing personality and social connections, while she seemed drawn to my stability and practical approach to life. We moved in together after 14 months of dating, splitting the rent on a 2-bedroom apartment in the suburbs. I proposed in July 2024 during a weekend getaway, presenting a $4,500 diamond engagement ring I had saved for months to purchase. Wedding planning began immediately after the engagement. We booked Oakwood Country Club for the wedding day, putting down a $3,000 non-refundable deposit. The venue could accommodate our guest list of 127 people, including family members, co-workers, and Becca's extensive network of college friends and social acquaintances. Additional vendors were secured alongside a photographer for $2,800, catering for $6,200, and a wedding band for $1,600. Total wedding expenses exceeded $18,000. I didn't notice certain patterns in our relationship until it was too late. Becca rarely altered her social plans for my needs. I had previously rationalized these decisions as Becca simply being social and independent, qualities I initially found attractive. However, friends and family members occasionally commented on the one-sided nature of our relationship dynamics. We maintained separate bank accounts while splitting household expenses evenly. I contributed $1,200 monthly toward rent, utilities, and groceries, while maintaining my own savings account for personal expenses and future planning. Becca matched my household contributions, but spent significantly more on entertainment, clothing, and travel with her friend group. Our financial philosophies differed considerably, though we had managed to establish a joint savings account containing $8,200 earmarked for wedding expenses and a future house down payment. 3 months before the accident, Becca had booked a girls' weekend trip to Las Vegas with her college sorority sisters. The occasion was a bachelorette party for their friend Linda, who was getting married. The trip package cost $1,200 per person and included round-trip flights, 3 nights at a luxury resort on the Strip, and various entertainment reservations. Becca had paid in full using her credit card, mentioning to me that the deposit was non-refundable, and the group had been planning the celebration for over a year. The job site where I worked was located in the downtown business district, part of a major commercial development project scheduled for completion in the next 14 months. The 12-story office complex required extensive foundation work, necessitating the use of heavy machinery, including excavators, bulldozers, and concrete pumps. As a site supervisor, I was certified to operate multiple pieces of equipment and regularly switched between administrative duties and hands-on construction work. On the day of the accident, 2 days before Becca was supposed to travel, it was a typical Tuesday morning at the construction site. I arrived at 6:30 a.m. for the daily safety meeting with my crew of 14 workers. Weather conditions were favorable, with clear skies and temperatures in the mid-50s. The day's schedule included continued excavation work on the building's northeast corner, where crews were digging to install underground utility connections. I was operating a Caterpillar 320 excavator, a machine I had used hundreds of times over my career. At approximately 2:30 p.m., I was maneuvering the excavator near a section of exposed foundation when a hydraulic hose connecting to the boom assembly suffered a sudden rupture. The high-pressure hydraulic fluid loss caused the boom to drop rapidly and unexpectedly. I attempted to jump clear of the operator's cabin, but my left leg became caught between the boom and the excavator's track frame. The crushing impact resulted in a severe closed fracture of my tibia, causing intense pain and immediate swelling that prevented me from moving the leg. A veteran crew member working nearby witnessed the accident and immediately called 911 from his cell phone. He provided the emergency dispatcher with precise location information and a description of my injuries, while other workers secured the area and attempted to keep me conscious and still. The city's paramedic unit arrived within 8 minutes, followed shortly by a fire department rescue team equipped with hydraulic tools to safely extract me from my position. Emergency medical technicians administered pain medication and immobilized my leg using a rigid splint before transporting me to a medical center, the nearest hospital with orthopedic specialists. During the ambulance ride, I remained conscious but experienced significant pain despite the medication. My vital signs remained stable throughout transport, and medical personnel established an intravenous line to administer fluids and additional pain relief. I arrived at the hospital's emergency department at 3:15 p.m., where an orthopedic surgeon immediately evaluated my condition. X-rays revealed a displaced tibial fracture requiring surgical repair with internal fixation. The doctor explained that the surgery needed to be performed within the next day or two for optimal healing outcomes. She scheduled the operation for Thursday morning at 7 a.m., allowing time for preoperative preparation and medical clearance. At 3:45 p.m., while still in the emergency department, I called Becca's cell phone to inform her about the accident and upcoming surgery. I contacted my brother Dean, who lived 2 hours away in Sacramento. Dean immediately agreed to drive down on Wednesday evening to be present for the surgery. I also called my supervisor at the construction company I work for to report the accident and begin the workers' compensation claim process. My mother, living in another state, was informed of the situation and made arrangements to fly out if complications arose during surgery. Becca showed up at the hospital about an hour after I called her. I explained the severity of my injuries, the scheduled operation, and my expected recovery timeline. Becca expressed initial concern, and we stayed together till night when she told me she had to go. She had things to arrange for a trip. I was shocked she was still planning to go on a trip despite seeing my condition. I was silent to see if she would come to her senses, but she left. I texted her that night to see if she could cancel her trip to be present for the surgery and help coordinate communications with family members and my employer. Wednesday morning brought the usual pre-surgical preparations. I was still waiting for a response from my fiancé. Hospital staff conducted blood tests, obtained additional x-rays, and completed paperwork for the operation. My anxiety about the surgery was compounded by Becca's silence. The text message revealed Becca's true priorities in a way that no previous incident had accomplished. I realized that her upcoming Vegas trip took precedence over supporting me during a medical crisis. The non-refundable nature of her travel package apparently outweighed any obligation she felt to be present during my surgery and initial recovery period. At 11:33 a.m., I composed and sent a 2-word response. My mistake. The brevity of my reply reflected both my emotional state and my growing understanding of where I ranked in Becca's life priorities. I did not elaborate on my feelings or attempt to argue with her decision. Instead, I began processing the implications of her message for our future relationship and upcoming marriage. Thursday morning's surgery commenced as scheduled at 7 a.m. Dr. Williams and her surgical team spent 2.5 hours repairing my fracture, installing a titanium intramedullary rod with locking screws to stabilize the broken bone. The operation proceeded without complications, and the surgical repair was successful. I was transferred to the recovery room at 9:45 a.m., where I remained under observation until early afternoon. Dean had arrived on Wednesday evening and spent the night in the hospital's family waiting area. He was present when the doctor provided the post-surgical update, confirming that the operation had been successful and my prognosis was good. Recovery would require 3 to 4 days of hospitalization, followed by several weeks of limited weight-bearing and physical therapy. Dean took detailed notes about post-discharge care requirements and medication schedules. My coworkers visited on Thursday evening, bringing flowers and updates about the construction site. The crew had established a visitor rotation schedule to ensure I had regular company during my hospital stay. Their genuine concern and support contrasted sharply with Becca's absence, highlighting the difference between colleagues who cared about my well-being and a fiancé who prioritized entertainment over my medical crisis. My mother called twice daily from Phoenix, offering to fly out immediately if I needed her to. She had met Becca on several occasions during family visits and had privately expressed concerns about my fiancé to Dean. The current situation confirmed her intuitions about Becca's character and commitment level to our relationship. Friday morning marked the beginning of Becca's Las Vegas weekend. Her social media activity, visible to me through Instagram and Facebook, documented her arrival at the luxury resort and immediate participation in poolside festivities. Photos showed her and 6 college friends lounging in private cabanas, drinks in hand, with captions celebrating Linda's upcoming wedding. The stark contrast between her vacation activities and my hospital bed was not lost on me. Throughout the weekend, Becca's social media posts continued documenting her Vegas experience. Saturday featured photos from an expensive steakhouse dinner, followed by nightclub appearances where the group occupied VIP tables with bottle service. Sunday showcased a spa day and additional poolside relaxation. Not once during the weekend did her posts acknowledge my situation or express any concern for my recovery. Meanwhile, my hospital recovery progressed steadily. Physical therapy sessions began Saturday morning with basic exercises to maintain circulation and prevent blood clots. The pain medication kept my discomfort manageable, though I experienced some nausea and dizziness as side effects. Dean remained at the hospital most of each day, helping with meals and coordinating visits from other family members and friends. Sunday evening, while still in Las Vegas, Becca attempted to call my cell phone multiple times. The calls came between 8 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Pacific Time, suggesting she was trying to contact me during breaks in her entertainment schedule. I watched my phone ring, but chose not to answer any of the calls. Each unanswered call reinforced my decision to reevaluate our relationship fundamentally. Monday brought Becca's return flight from Las Vegas and additional attempts to reach me by phone. She called 4 times between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., leaving voicemail messages that I chose not to listen to immediately. Her persistence suggested growing concern about my lack of response, though her timing indicated she had made no effort to contact me during the actual surgery or the immediate recovery period. At 9:45 p.m. Monday evening, I made the decision to block Becca's phone number. The action was deliberate and final, representing my conclusion that our relationship had no viable future. A woman who would choose a vacation over supporting her fiancé during surgery had revealed her true character in an undeniable way. I felt no anger, only clarity about the incompatibility of our values and priorities. Tuesday afternoon brought Becca's unannounced arrival at the medical center. She appeared at the nurse's station on my floor at approximately 1 p.m., demanding to see me immediately. However, I had anticipated this possibility and removed her from my emergency contact list on Monday evening. I had also informed the nursing staff about our relationship status change and requested that she not be granted access to my room. Hospital policy strictly limited visitors to immediate family members and individuals specifically approved by patients. When Becca was informed she could not see me, she became increasingly agitated and raised her voice at the nursing staff. Her behavior attracted attention from other patients' families and required intervention from hospital security. She was ultimately escorted from the building after refusing to leave voluntarily. The scene at the nurse's station confirmed for me that blocking her phone number had been the correct decision. A woman who would cause a disturbance at a hospital, disrupting the healing environment for other patients, demonstrated a level of selfishness that extended beyond our personal relationship. The nursing staff later commented to me about the inappropriateness of her behavior and their support for my decision to restrict her access. Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m., my phone rang with a call from Becca's mother. I had maintained a cordial relationship with Becca's parents throughout our courtship, though I had always sensed they harbored reservations about my career compared to their daughter's white-collar professional track. The mother immediately launched into an emotional appeal on behalf of her daughter. According to her, Becca had called her earlier that evening, crying and devastated about being denied access to see me at the hospital. She claimed her daughter was embarrassed by the public nature of the hospital incident and confused about why I was not responding to her attempts at communication. She demanded an explanation for my behavior and insisted I owed Becca an apology for embarrassing her. I listened to Becca's mother's complaints for approximately 3 minutes before calmly ending the call mid-sentence. I immediately blocked her phone number as well, recognizing that Becca's family would likely continue advocating for her position rather than acknowledging the inappropriateness of her choice to prioritize vacation over my surgery. The conversation confirmed that Becca had portrayed herself as the victim of the situation rather than accepting responsibility for her decision. The blocking process extended to other members of Becca's family who had my contact information. Her father was blocked, along with her younger sister, who had previously texted me about wedding planning details. 2 aunts who had been involved in organizing the engagement party also found their numbers blocked. My approach was systematic and thorough, ensuring no family member could serve as an intermediary for future communication attempts. Wednesday morning marked the beginning of my wedding cancellation process. The decision was final and non-negotiable, based on the fundamental incompatibility revealed by Becca's Vegas trip choice. From my hospital bed, using my laptop and cell phone, I began the systematic process of unwinding 9 months of wedding planning and financial commitments. The wedding venue people were contacted first, as their cancellation policy required maximum advance notice. The venue's events coordinator expressed sympathy for the circumstances, but confirmed that the $3,000 deposit was non-refundable according to their contract terms. The date was released back to their availability calendar, and all associated services were canceled, including setup, catering coordination, and audio-visual equipment rental. The photographer proved more flexible with their cancellation policy. He had been paid a 50% deposit of $1,400, with a balance due 2 weeks before the wedding date. Because the cancellation occurred more than 6 months in advance, $1,000 of the deposit was refundable within 30 days. I provided wire transfer information for the refund and requested written confirmation of the contract termination. The catering offered the most favorable cancellation terms of all the vendors. Their contract included a clause allowing full refunds minus a $500 planning fee if cancellation occurred more than 90 days before the event date. The catering coordinator expressed understanding about the circumstances and processed the $5,700 refund immediately, with funds appearing in my account within 2 business days. The wedding band had the least favorable cancellation policy, requiring forfeiture of the entire $800 deposit regardless of timing. Their contract specifically stated that deposits were non-refundable under any circumstances, as the band typically declined other bookings once a date was reserved. I accepted the loss and requested written confirmation that the wedding date was removed from their schedule. Floral arrangements were canceled with minimal financial impact. The florist required only a $200 deposit, with a balance due 1 week before delivery. Because the cancellation occurred well outside their penalty period, the full deposit was refunded promptly. The florist even offered to maintain my contact information for future events, demonstrating professional courtesy despite the circumstances. Guest notification requires careful consideration of messaging and timing. I had compiled a list of 127 guests through the initial planning process, including family members, co-workers, college friends, and social acquaintances from both sides of the relationship. I decided on a brief, factual email that avoided detailed explanations while providing necessary information about the cancellation. The email message was sent on Friday morning to all guests simultaneously, preventing rumors or speculation from spreading through personal networks before official notification. Response to the cancellation email varied significantly among recipients. Family members called seeking additional details, while coworkers expressed concern about my well-being following my accident. Several of Becca's friends sent messages expressing surprise and disappointment, though none demanded specific explanations. I maintained my policy of not discussing the personal details that led to the cancellation decision. The engagement ring situation required research into applicable state laws governing broken engagements. In our jurisdiction, engagement rings were considered conditional gifts that legally belonged to the purchaser if the engagement was terminated by the recipient. Although Becca's action ended the relationship through her Vegas trip decision, I terminated the engagement, so I forfeited legal ownership of the $4,500 ring. Financial disentanglement proved more complex than vendor cancellations. The joint savings account containing $8,200 required careful calculation of individual contributions over the preceding months. Bank records showed that I had deposited $4,700, while Becca contributed $3,500, not including interest earned. I withdrew my proportional share plus accrued interest, leaving Becca's contributions available for her withdrawal. Our shared apartment lease presented the most complicated logistical challenge. Both names appeared on the rental agreement. I contacted the property management company to explain my hospitalization and request early termination options. The leasing agent offered a buyout option requiring payment of 2 months' rent plus forfeiture of our security deposit, totaling $3,100. I agreed to these terms and arranged for Dean to coordinate the apartment clearing process. Personal belongings accumulated over 2.5 years of cohabitation required systematic separation. I created detailed lists of items purchased individually versus jointly, ensuring fair division of shared assets. Major purchases like furniture and appliances were allocated based on original payment records maintained in our financial files. My practical nature had led me to keep receipts and documentation that now proved valuable during the separation process. By Friday morning, exactly 1 week after my surgery, I had successfully canceled or modified every aspect of our planned wedding and shared life while still in my hospital bed. The financial impact totaled approximately $4,300 in non-refundable deposits and early termination fees, a significant but manageable loss given the circumstances. More importantly, I had achieved complete separation from Becca and her family network without ongoing obligations or complications. Physical recovery continued to progress favorably during the wedding cancellation process. My surgical incision was healing properly without signs of infection. Physical therapy sessions helped maintain flexibility and strength in my affected leg, though full weight-bearing activity remained restricted for several more weeks. The doctor expressed satisfaction with my healing progress during daily medical evaluations. The support system I had cultivated through work relationships and family connections proved invaluable during my recovery period. My mother decided to postpone her visit until my discharge, when her assistance would be most needed. Pain management became increasingly effective as the initial surgical trauma subsided. My medication dosage was gradually reduced from every 4 hours to an as-needed basis, allowing me greater mental clarity for decision-making about my future. The forced period of bed rest provided unexpected time for reflection about relationship patterns and personal priorities that had previously been overlooked during busy work schedules. The process of rebuilding my life began even before hospital discharge. I researched apartments suitable for a single occupant, focusing on ground floor units that would accommodate my temporary mobility limitations. I also investigated physical therapy providers covered by my health insurance plan, seeking facilities with experience treating construction-related injuries. These practical preparations helped maintain forward momentum during an otherwise challenging period. Coworker visits revealed that Becca had attempted to contact several of my colleagues seeking information about my condition and whereabouts after her hospital access was denied. I heard that she had called the construction company's main office, claiming to be my emergency contact and demanding updates about my status. The office manager correctly referred her to workers' compensation administrators, who confirmed they had no obligation to share medical information with non-family members. These contact attempts reinforced my decision to maintain a complete communication blockage. A person who would manipulate professional relationships to circumvent personal boundaries demonstrated continued disrespect for my clearly expressed wishes. I informed my coworkers about the situation and requested that they not share information about my recovery or future plans if contacted by Becca or her representatives. The final days of hospitalization passed quietly, with steady improvement in my mobility and pain levels. Physical therapy sessions progressed from basic exercises to assisted walking with crutches. Occupational therapy addressed practical skills needed for independent living with temporary disability, including safe techniques for navigating stairs, bathing, and meal preparation. These preparations built confidence about managing my recovery period independently. Dean's presence throughout my hospitalization had strengthened our relationship considerably. We had maintained regular contact throughout our adult lives, but the crisis had revealed the depth of Dean's commitment to family support. We discussed plans for Dean to visit regularly during the early recovery period, providing both practical assistance and emotional companionship during a challenging transition. The doctor conducted her final evaluation on Sunday evening, confirming that my surgical site was healing excellently and my mobility was progressing ahead of schedule. She prescribed a home exercise program to supplement outpatient physical therapy and scheduled follow-up appointments at 2-week intervals for the next 2 months. Her optimistic prognosis suggested full recovery with minimal long-term limitations. Monday morning brought discharge paperwork completion and final preparations for returning to independent living. Still unable to secure a new apartment lease, a close friend offered for me to come stay with him pending when I get my place. As I prepared to leave St. Mary's Medical Center, I reflected on the events of the previous week. A workplace accident that could have been merely a physical setback had instead revealed fundamental truths about my relationship and personal values. The clarity gained through Becca's Vegas trip decision had ultimately saved me from a marriage destined for failure, though the realization had come through painful circumstances. Transportation home was provided by my friend, who had a sedan that could accommodate my crutches and medical equipment. The drive to his place took 30 minutes. The apartment met all of my practical requirements. Ground floor accessibility eliminated stair navigation challenges, while the kitchen and bathroom had been equipped with safety modifications recommended by occupational therapy. Recovery progress continued steadily through the following weeks, with outpatient physical therapy sessions helping me regain strength and mobility. The construction company's workers' compensation benefits provided financial stability during the extended recovery period, supplemented by savings I had accumulated over my career. The experience had fundamentally altered my approach to relationships and personal priorities. Future romantic interests would be evaluated not just for compatibility during good times, but for their commitment and support during challenging circumstances. The Vegas trip decision had served as an inadvertent character test that revealed Becca's true nature in an undeniable way. Complete communication blockage with Becca and her family was maintained throughout my recovery period and beyond. I retrieved my personal items from my former shared apartment with the help of Dean. He arranged for everything to be boxed and delivered to my new address. This systematic approach eliminated any need for future contact, while ensuring fair distribution of shared belongings. Looking back months later, I recognized that the construction accident, while physically challenging and financially costly, had prevented a far more expensive mistake in marrying someone fundamentally incompatible with my values. The money lost in wedding deposits and cancellation fees was insignificant compared to the potential costs of divorce and the emotional damage of discovering Becca's true character after marriage. The text message that had initially shocked and hurt me became a source of clarity and eventual gratitude. In 14 words, Becca had revealed exactly who she was and what I could expect from our relationship during future crises. Her casual dismissal of my surgery in favor of a vacation had been the most honest communication in our entire relationship, finally showing her authentic priorities without pretense or manipulation. Thank you for watching.